Okay, so let us start the third, third class, third session of our today's PCP, Personal Contact Program. Uh, Welcome to Mata Sundari Open University, Master of Arts, Political Science. And today's course, now presently the course name is International Relation, International Politics, course code PLM 6113. I'm your faculty, Panzor Devarma. This is my contact, email and mobile number. If you have any queries, you can reach out through the contact. So for introduction, we are going to have discussion on that. I hope you have received the SLM, Self-Learning Materials books. In that, we have this block-wise, and what we are going to discuss today is the block 1 of that book. So we are going to discuss international foundation, meaning, what is the meaning, politics versus relation, international politics versus international relations. And we are going to cover I forgot to share the screen, so let me just share the screen. Okay, so this is our third paper for MA Political Science. International Politics, PLM 6213, actually subject code is 6213. So for introduction, we are going to examine about that foundation, meaning, approaches, politics versus relation. In Unit 5, we are going to cover anarchy system basis to Marxist economic critics. We are going to analyze theories like idealism, where it's talk about cooperation, realism, new realism, who's talking about power, and Marxism, who's talking about exploitation. And analytical framework for understanding state behavior and global power dynamics. So we are going to discuss some framework how we can analyze the state behavior and how global power works. So at the Unit 1, we'll be discussing meaning, nature, and significance. But of course, sovereign state interaction, no one government. Again, see, in the CSA diagram here, every country there is a government, is it not? So every country is not under anybody's rule. So everybody is sovereign and independent. So they have the right to act in whatever they want. So there is no one government. Everybody is acting at their own will. Okay. We are going to discuss diplomacy. Diplomacy means how one country interact with another country. Alliances, like friends. Okay, some country are your friends, some country are your enemy. So conflict, treaties, negotiation, and between nations. Power politics. Power politics means how a country try to make itself more powerful and more powerful, more and more. Okay, for security and prosperity. It includes economic exchange, cultural diplomacy, geopolitical strategies. So these are the things what are happening in international politics is that there is an economic exchange, there is a business doing between, like I am buying oil from one country and I am selling maybe cotton to that country. Then cultural diplomacy, there is a cultural exchange. One country culture exchange, like if we are wearing this Western clothing, there is a cultural exchange. Geopolitical strategy, there is also a strategy being played, okay, to win the game. What is the game? International politics. Politics is also a game. So this is not same like domestic politics, okay, who can in domestic politics means in a country there is a government who can regulate and make things like this and that. But in global politics, international politics, there is no authority to control, so every country is acting their own will. Nature. What is the nature? Anarchic and dynamic feature. So as a picture, you can see anarchy means when people are doing whatever they want without caring the rules and regulations. So that is anarchy. So in sometimes international politics is described as anarchy because there is no rules as a global rule. There is no, you don't have to accept it. It is your wish. Obviously, there is United Nations and some rules and regulation, but it is not compulsory that everybody will agree to it. So what are the things that affect a person, a country's power, and this thing is its geography and its resource. How much where you are located, okay, and how much resource, natural resource, money or people you have. This will decide the state behavior. If people have more resource, they will act like I'm powerful. If people have less resource and less geography, they will behave as such. Okay, they will, in international politics, we also discuss hegemony, okay, versus balancing condition. We discuss which countries is the most powerful, how to balance the power. We should always, in international politics, this always make sure that one country does not become unlimited powerful and always some balance is always kept. International politics also discuss trade. Okay, China and European Union, they are doing businesses, obviously, and it helps in reducing war if you are doing trade regularly. Multilateral forum, UN, United Nations World Trade Organization manages global issue collectively. So these organizations are very much important globally. So it helps in solving problems, maybe business problem. So other are non-state actors also NGO and multinational corporations are also very much influential, like Greenpeace and Google. They are very much popular and they can influence the international politics also. So these are the things. Significance. So what are the significant areas? Security diplomacy prevents war, deterrence remains peace, maintains peace. Okay. So in terms of politics, in the security, that means where safety you are talking about. To be safe and to be safe as security, you have to have diplomacy, connection, talking between the countries. So it will have in maintaining peace. There will be trade blocks, RCEP, sanctions, Russia 22, safe prosperity. Okay, so these are just trade groups which also help in maintaining the prosperity. These are with the trade groups. Okay, business group. Human right. Okay, human right is so very important. It help in human protection. So human rights is so very much important when you're talking about international politics. Environment. Okay, Paris Agreement is a very important factor in climate change discussion and climate change action. So, environment is also factor in international health. World Health Organization, when there was pandemic 2019, COVID-19 and other, when there is global health crisis, agencies like World Health Organization, okay, are very much helpful and they help in preventing the health crisis. So these are just important factors. Why global politics is important, why global relationship is important, they help in solving this kind of issues. So approaches, let's see what are the approaches to study the global politics. For example, this liberalism, let's have a quick look.
Often contrasted with realism, the international relations theory of liberalism tries to explain that states behave not in competition like realists believe, but instead through cooperation. States, of course, also look for safety and security, but not rooted in mistrust of others, but looking at working together as a way to mutually be able to benefit. States that behave through this liberal mindset might, for example, look to create trade agreements with other states because they'll both be able to grow their economies together. The liberal theory of international relations will also look at the success of organizations like the United Nations that aims to try and prevent global conflict through diplomacy. So organizations like the UN or the World Trade Organization will look to create a system where it's fair and stable for everybody, especially as more states follow the principles of liberal democracy. If this went by a little bit fast, you can check out my extended video on liberalism and realism right there. As always, if you learned something today, give this video a like, subscribe.
Okay, so that was about liberalism. They primarily focus on dialogue and discussion and solving the problem with logical discussion. So these are the main theories in international politics. So first is realism, Thucydides, Morgenthau, power, anarchy, self-help. They say that in global politics, everybody is trying to gain more power. There is no one government. Everybody is their own help. Nobody can come and help you. You have to help yourself in global politics. There is a set of the realist school of thought or realistic thinkers. And we have liberals like Immanuel Kant and Cohen. What they talk about is that in international politics, there should be cooperation and institutional interdependence. Okay, there should be cooperation among the country. The importance of institutions like UN and other institutions are there, and there is an interdependence. We are all dependent upon each other. That is a liberalism. Constructivism, like when say energy is what states make of it. So they are saying that the state should have behaved in a responsible manner. Nobody is can actually control it, but every state should behave their own proper manner. Marxism, Marx, Lenin, what they talk about is class struggle, capitalist imperialism, that a country is controlling other country or exploiting the poor country. Feminism, like Enlow and Tickner, what they talk about is gender blindness and power structure that females are ignored. So these are the major theories and ideas about international.
Often contrasted with.
So other key approaches are post-colonialism, like Said and Fanon, the Eurocentric based colonial legacies. They're talking about European and colonial impact. Okay. Critical theory, Frankfurt School, power structure, emancipation. They're talking about the power structure, who is more powerful, where is power concentrated, and how it can be solved. Okay, this is a critical theory. Post-structuralism, they talk about Foucault and Derrida, discourse constructs reality. Okay, they're saying that whatever the reality is there right now, it can be reconstructed again. Okay, so they're talking about that. Green theory, okay, those who are environmentalists, they talk about ecological challenge to state-centered security. So it is not always that people are problem. Ecology, environment might also be a problem. We have to solve that also. That is green theory. Postmodernism, they talk about grand narratives and emphasize subjectivity. Okay, they don't say that whatever said is the correct one, but it can be changed, subjectivity. So these are the other key approaches. So study material, analytical tools. What are the study materials that can be used to study the international politics? Historical context first, like World War II. We can study what happened in World War and what is the UN, how UN was created. If you go to the history, you come to know a little bit and more about that international politics. Okay? Like in that Cuban Missile Crisis decision making, where there was Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, how did they solve the problem? Was there deterrence between the countries? So you can study through case studies, or through historical, or through quantitative state regression, democratic peace correlation. Okay, how much nuclear power they have, what is the generation of aircraft they have. So these are quantitative, analyzing by the structure what is available in the countries. Game theory, models, cooperation, defection, prisoners, dilemma. Game, that means every country is trying to play some game, one step, everyone is trying to be 10 steps ahead of another person. So there is a game theory. So cooperation is there sometime, and sometime non-cooperation is there, defection. Discourse analysis examines language power, war on terror, framing. So another one is discourse analysis. They're trying to examine the language and power. Okay, and they then discuss, analyze the war and its impact. All these things. Okay, so these are the things. Now let's go to Unit 3: Politics versus Relation. What is international politics versus international relation? See, international politics is practical statecraft, diplomacy, war, and alliances. If you talk about international relation, it is a theoretical discipline, explains interaction. So international politics or paper, it is talk about practical statecraft, practical state action, about diplomacy, war, and alliances. But when you talk about international relation, this is very theoretical discipline. It try to explain the phenomena. Politics focus on power struggle, bargaining, coalition formation. Okay, in international politics, what they try to do is they try to focus on power struggle, how people are trying to gain more and more power, who is more powerful, how the negotiation happen between the two countries, between the many countries, how coalitions are formed. International relations scope, what they do is that will discuss the norm, institution, transnational process. What are the norms? What are the global accepted rules and regulation? What are the big organization that is very impactful in global politics and transnational process? In every country, what are the things and activities happening? These are the scope of international relations. So our lab politics tests IR theories empirically. Okay. So what are the theories given by IR as will be and tested by the international politics? So this is the difference. So comparative framework is decision metrics. So let's see international politics versus international relation. International politics, they say they focus on state actor and behavior. International relation, they basically focus on structure, norms, and theory. Okay. Scope, narrow, diplomacy and war. International politics mainly focus on diplomacy and war. International relation more focus on culture and economy. Actor international politics primarily state, international relation state plus NGO plus MNC plus international organizations. Method is practical analysis. International relation is a scientific explanation. So modern implication. What is there for the international politics in the modern world? Politics. In politics, we can say NATO expansion, US-China war tactics. So after studying the internal politics, you can learn about the NATO expansion, how NATO has been expanding, why and how they are able to capture more and more power. And you know the trade is going on between US and China. They're trying to have a trade war. I'll do this business, my business will increase, their business will go down. This kind of games are being played between US and China. So international relations explain European integration, global governance challenges. In international politics, we discuss NATO expansion, US and trade war. In relations, we discuss European integration, how Europe was able to become a one common group and how they are able to peacefully navigate through the challenging time or the complexities of the world politics. And global governance, what are the things that needs to be done globally, okay, to address the challenges. Convergence. So how do they come together? Hybrid threats, hybrid warfare, blur lines. So nowadays the threat is not only physical, it can be virtual also, like hybrid warfare. Cyber warfare also can happen, not always physical war. Now everything has changed. Academic, politics, art, relations, science. Okay, so international politics means talking about art. Relation means science. Okay, science is the relationship. This is the difference. Policy, relations informs political strategy. Okay. So in the international relation, they inform the political strategy. So in the unit 4, we are discussing the idealist and realist theory. First, idealist, cooperation optimum, Wilson, 14-point self-determination, League of Nations, Kantian peace, democracy plus trade plus institutional perpetual peace. Collective security, aggressive as by United Nations community, moral diplomacy, rights makes might versus realist, might makes right. Post World War I vision, law over force, arbitration over war. So idealist theory, what they try to do is they try to become more peaceful, peace-loving, like they try to create League of Nations. First, after that it became United Nations. First it was League of Nations after World War I. After World War II, new institution was created, that is United Nations. Like Kantian, Immanuel Kant talk about democracy plus trade plus institution equal to peace. When you combine these three elements, peace is possible according to Immanuel Kant. So collective security is when somebody is trying to be aggressive or attack on another country, that country will be isolated by the international community. They will not buy it from you, we will not talk with you, we will not do business with you. You survive alone if possible. But in the world of globalization, how do you survive alone? See, okay. So there is a thing like a collective security. You are being isolated by the international community around the globe. And moral diplomacy. Okay. In realism, what they say is that right, realist makes, might makes right. Those who are the powerful, whatever they say is the correct according to a realist. But Idealists, they are saying that if you make the right thing, then you are the powerful. The person who's able to take the right decision is the one powerful, not the one with the most muscle power. This is the difference. After that, post-World War, this idealist vision came: law over force. Not Jabardasti, but will follow the rules and regulation. Arbitration over what? Dialogue, discussion, we should not have war. So this is the idealist theory. Now realist theory, let's go to realist theory. Like Morgenthau here, this is the picture. He's a very popular realist theory in international politics. Morgenthau said politics is struggle for power. Generally in politics, it's not everybody is trying to be powerful. I want this power, I want that power. So everybody is trying to be more and more powerful in politics. So Thucydides is an ancient thinker. He said, strong do what they can, weak suffer what they must. Okay, those who are strong, they always do what they can do. They so, and weak, they have to suffer because they are weak. So this is Thucydides' dialogue. Machiavelli said, end justify means in statecraft. Whatever you do, as long as your state is alive and strong, that is all that matter, according to Machiavelli. So he is saying that whatever the one state can do, as long as your state is strong and healthy, to make you strong and healthy healthy state, you can do whatever you want. Like if you have to attack another country, you attack it because that is the only option which is going to make your country strong. So that is what Machiavelli was talking about. Then we talk about hope, state of nature, war of all against all. Okay, this is also a classical realism. In reality, everybody is fighting against one another. Car critic, idealism, utopia, realist, scientific. Okay, so what are the criticism they got is those are idealists. They are too much dreaming. That's what they got, that the world will be peaceful like flower everywhere. No, it is not so possible. And realism is not so scientific. Very scientific, they don't think about other things. Okay, so these are the differences and criticism. So there is a thing like new realism. Realism was there was classical one, new. Those were new thinkers. What did they mean to say? Let's see. Walls, what say anarchic structure compels similar behavior. Okay, if one is becoming aggressive, other country also automatically become the aggressive. So that's what Wall was talking about. If Russia is attacking Ukraine, Ukraine also will automatically become aggressive and will attack on Russia. So that is what Wall is talking about. Defensive realism, security maximism, status quo power. So every country is trying to have the most best security in the world, and they want to maintain the present scenario. Offensive realism, power maximism, Marsemer hegemony. And here is people are trying to be more powerful, and they're trying to control other countries. So that is called offensive realism. Balance of power, counterweight prevents dominance. Okay, so we try to counter each another. One country trying to counter with another person. So that's how dominance is stopped. Because if one country becomes too powerful, he will dominate and he will control everything on the world. So there should be a balance. Security dilemma, arms for defense threaten others. So neurologists say that those who are having this security arms for defense threaten others. As I am building more and more bomb, more nuclear, more military, more soldier, what happened that the other person feel that he might attack me, so they feel threatened. So there is also a problem. In Unit 5, we go to Karl Marx, the Marxist theories. In Marxist, what they say is economics shape political ideas. This is a picture of Marxist Karl Marx, who is the, you can say, father of Marxism. So he is saying that whatever in this world, it is always shaped by the economics. Economics is the main actor everywhere. They talk about class struggle, bourgeois versus proletariat globally. The rich versus the poor is talking in the global world also, that the rich country versus the poor country. Imperialism, capitalism, necessary outlet markets, super profits. We talk about imperialism, that is one country is controlling other country directly or indirectly. Okay, by giving loan is one of the main impact factor. Debt trap, it is called debt trap. One country, this country give loan to another country, that another country to repay the debt, you have to listen to the rich person. So it's called imperialism. In Lenin, he talked about higher stakes, monopolies plus finance plus capital plus colonies. How does they control the poor countries? That All the product are have to buy from them, from that one country only. All the finance money you are getting from them. Okay, colonies. So at the end, the rich country will come and make some colony or quarter in your country. So you are under their control, not directly but indirectly. What happened? Marxism told that core drains periphery surplus value. Core means the rich country. They always try to uh, take away all the honey and gold from the poor countries, and okay, that's how they exploit. So these are the ideas of Marxist theories. In new Marxist, what they discuss is that wall system and dependency. Dependency is being created. Same core, semi-periphery, periphery hierarchy. Okay, the rich country, the poor country, the poorest country. The rich country is America, semi-periphery is India, periphery is Africa or Bangladesh. This is the examples. Okay, dependency by design, Frank and Cardoso. That poor countries are made to be dependent on the rich country. So Gramsci also said about this that dominant class become the whatever the dominant class say, their idea become like that. It is a universal truth. Okay, whatever maybe America say, people might start to believe without questioning. So that is called hegemony. It may be cultural hegemony also. Culturally, you have to follow their culture. I mean, accumulation on world scale exploits South. Okay, again, those who are the rich country, the Europe and the America, what they do is they try to exploit the poor countries through business or other means of things. So, Arigi, system cycles of accumulation, Genoa, Holland, US, UK, US. Okay, so this is the structure: US first, UK second, Holland third, and Genoa fourth. So this is the structure of rich, poor, poor, poor. Okay. So in this, what we have discussed are idealism, realism, neorealism, Marxism. Okay. In idealism, we talk about morality, what is good and bad have to be done. Key actors, state plus international organization. Conflict source, misunderstanding. Solution, institution by building new group and institution. Example, League of Nations. In realism, what they're talking about is the material, okay, production, whatever it is, visible material production. And key actor is the state. Main conflict, power and anarchy. Solution to maintain balance, and example is Cold War. New realism, structure, they're talking about a structure. Key actor is the state. Conflict is distribution of resources. Solution is to help yourself. NATO is an example. In Marxism, economic is the main factor. Key actor are the classes, rich class and the poor class, and the exploitation because of the rich class trying to exploit the poor class, and solution is revolution, and they don't like World Trade Organization. So in the conclusion part, we have come. Anarchy drives self-interest, but cooperation possible through institution, idealism and liberalism. In liberalism, what they have said is that yes, anarchy is there because there is no world government, every country is deciding for their own. But what we can do for a solution is that cooperation through institution. We should build some institution, some officials that is going to solve the problem. And in new realism, what they say that power is the more important factor. Every country is trying to be more and more powerful day by day. So the structure help behavior. Okay. Your geography and your resources, it determines your action. That is neoliberalism. According to Marxist, economic inequality, the rich are getting rich, the poor are getting poor. Okay, and the rich country are always exploiting the poor country. These things are always there. So again, no single theory suffice. We have to understand from each of this, from each angle, so that you finally understand what is actually happening in the world. Okay, so we have to learn all these theories. Thank you. Okay, so we have come to the end part. That is the question and answer session. We can ask the question like, how does anarchy differentiate international politics from domestic politics? Contrast realist power focus with Marxist economic determinism. Thank you. If you have any queries, you are open for questions. Today we have finished block 1. Next class we will be finishing block 2. Okay. Anarchy differentiation. Anarchy means it is talking about a global politics where there is no world government. Every country is sovereign. They have independent decision how much to invest in security, how much to invest in economics, whom to do business with, whom not to do business with. It is nobody can control the countries. But when you talk about a domestic policy, there is always the government, the government of the country, who will decide how to do business, how much to give you, how much to uh, invest in security, how much to invest in education. These are always controlled by the domestic government. But international politics is anarchy. There is no one government, so everybody has their own wish. So this is the difference between the two. Thank you, and once again, I'll see you in the next class.